What if I told you there's a company out there that made a massive profit without selling a single thing? It sounds completely bonkers, right? Well, welcome to the very strange financial mystery of Blue Coast Hotels. It's a story where the numbers tell a tale that seems almost impossible, a tale of profit just appearing out of thin air.
So, I want you to forget business school for a second. Forget everything you think you know about how companies are supposed to work. The question we're tackling is simple. How can a company with absolutely zero sales, zero customers, not only survive, but post a massive, massive profit? It sounds like it can't be done, and that's exactly why we need to dig into the numbers.
All right, let's look at the evidence. In the quarter from July to September 2024, Blue Coast Hotels reported its revenue from its main business, running hotels. And that number was zero. A big, round, perfect zero. They didn't sell a single room, not even a cup of coffee from the lobby. Nothing. And then you see this. In that exact same period of zero revenue, they reported a pre-tax profit of nearly 848 million rupees. I mean, how is that even possible? How do you go from zero sales to a profit that most actual operating companies can only dream of? That is the mystery we're here to solve. Okay, so to understand what in the world is happening now, we need to rewind the clock. Let's go back to a time when Blue Coast Hotels was, well, a hotel business. Let's set the time machine to early 2018. Back then, things were totally normal. Blue Coast was a standard hotel business, they had guests, they were making money, and they were operating just like any other company you'd expect. It was a living, breathing operation. And here's what normal looked like on paper. In the first quarter of 2018, the company brought in nearly 300 million rupees in revenue. And after all of the expenses, they walked away with a respectable profit of about 1.9 million. Healthy, stable, predictable. This right here is our baseline for a normal company. But then, something really dramatic happened. The business, as they knew it, just stopped. And the change was incredibly sudden. I mean, look at this. In that first quarter of 2018, they had that healthy revenue of nearly 300 million. By the third quarter of that very same year, it plummeted straight to zero. This wasn't some slow, gradual decline. This was like hitting a brick wall, a full stop collapse. And you guessed it, the financial impact was immediate and brutal. That modest profit they had, poof, gone. By the third quarter, with absolutely no revenue coming in, the company was just hemorrhaging money, posting a loss of nearly 18 million rupees. So, what happens to a company that has no business? Well, for Blue Coast Hotels, it entered this long, strange period of corporate hibernation. It was basically surviving on fumes. And this wasn't just a temporary blip, not at all. This zero revenue reality continued quarter after quarter, year after year, from late 2018 all through 2019, 2020, and beyond. No sales, no operations, just an empty line where their entire business used to be. Which, of course, brings us to a very logical question. If no money is coming in the door, you'd think the company would just shut down, right? But it didn't. It was still spending money. So what on earth was it paying for? So let's look at a typical quarter during this kind of zombie phase. Yeah, they still had some employee costs and other administrative expenses, but look at that huge slice of the pie. The vast majority of their spending was on something called finance costs. And that's our key clue right there. The company was essentially a shell, existing for one primary reason, to pay the interest on its debts. And that brings us all the way back to 2024, and to the solution to our mystery. After all those years of losses and zero revenue, how did that 845 million rupee profit just appear out of nowhere? The answer lies in a single magical line on the financial statement, and it's powered by this little bit of accounting jargon, an exceptional item. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, something unusual, a one-off event that's not part of the day-to-day business. Think of it like winning the lottery or selling a huge building or even getting a massive debt written off. And for Blue Coast Hotels, this exceptional item was enormous, a one-time gain of over 845 million rupees. This single entry is the hero of our story. It's the magic ingredient that completely flipped their financial statement on its head. The math is surprisingly simple once you know the secret. The company actually had a tiny operating profit of about 2.3 million from some other income. Then they added that massive one-time windfall of 845 million. And the result?
a staggering pre-tax profit of nearly 848 million rupees. All of that with zero sales. Okay, let's just take a step back for a second and look at the entire bizarre journey we've just uncovered by following the data. I mean, this company's story is a total financial roller coaster. It starts in early 2018 as a perfectly normal, thriving hotel business. Then, bam, late 2018, the revenue hits absolute zero. That's followed by years and years of losses, just surviving by paying its debts. And then, out of nowhere, this exceptional comeback in 2024, driven by a single financial event. So our journey through the data, it shows us exactly what happened. A business vanished, the company survived on fumes, and then it posted this giant profit from a single accounting entry. But here's the thing, the numbers don't tell us why. What could an exceptional item of this size actually be in the real world? Well, maybe the sale of a major hotel, or, and this is more likely, a massive debt restructuring deal with its lenders. That's the real-world story these numbers are pointing to, a financial reset that allowed the company to clean its slate, leaving us with one of the strangest comeback stories you will ever find in a financial report.